everyone, my name is Keely and I'm the owner and creator here at Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for another behind the scenes look as I make the embeds for the next soap. Now, a little while ago I asked on Instagram if I should make another video of the coconuts that I'm going to be using on my soap, and 96% of the people that voted on that said yes I should, so I have filmed making the coconuts again. Now, the difference between the last time I made coconuts with soap dough and this time is that I have a lot more experience or a lot more practice at making them, and I've been able to make these coconuts a little bit smaller, a little bit more refined, and I've also added something a little bit extra to the end or to the end result of these coconuts as well. So let's go and see how I make my coconuts this time round. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make up some soap dough, and what I have in this bucket is my, well, they should be my hard oils, but we are coming into some warmer days now, so these are actually quite soft, which makes this heat transfer method really quick, easy and simple because these are already nice and soft. I have my soft oils ready to pour in once we get this melted down, and in this pot here is my sodium hydroxide and distilled water solution, which is still warm because I've only just made it up. The surface sort of temperature of this is sitting at 83 degrees Celsius, which is about 180 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to use the warmth of that solution to finish melting down these hard oils in here. So let's pour that in. I'll let it get melted down, and then I will stir in my soft oils, and then I will blend it up until we get to a thin trace. Okay, so what I'm going to do now that I've got that mixed all together there is I'm going to pour off about half of this because I want two different colors. I want some brown and I want some white. Probably don't need as much brown as I will want of white because white is always a good color to have in the soap dough box. So I'll pour a bit more back in there. Into my jug, what I'll do is get rid of the spatula first. And into the jug, I am going to put in some mocha mica from my Micro Obsession. So just put a bit in there like so. And then into the bigger pot, I'm going to put in some titanium dioxide, which I have already dispersed with some distilled water. I'm going to give them a mix up, and then we'll pour them into the mold and let them set up, and then we'll be back to create our little coconuts. Soap finished curing the other day. I took them out of the silicone molds. I needed a little bit of stress relief, so I started to massage them up just to have a little bit of a feel of the consistency, and then I popped them into these bags just so that they couldn't go through the cure process. By keeping them in an airlocked container, you stop these from going hard. They stay nice and pliable so that you can then actually create all your little embeds. What I'm going to do is grab a bit from out of here. I'll leave the rest in the bag until I need it. Now, I have made coconuts on the channel before, and I will leave a link for you so you can go and have a look at how I made them originally. This time though, I want them to be a little bit more uniform and slightly smaller, and I'm going to add an extra little bit of a twist to them. So what I'm going to do is actually use my scales, and I am going to weigh out my soap dough this time. I want a piece of soap dough on here that is about 5.5 grams, and then once I've got them, I'm going to roll them up into some balls, and I'll leave them sit here just for about 5 or 10 minutes so that they can dry out, and then I can move on to the next step. these sitting here for about 20 minutes just to firm up a little bit, and I've got myself a little knife here, and I'm just going to go through and cut them all in half. By letting them just sit there for that sort of 10 minutes, there's less chance of distorting the little shapes too much. So let me get all of these ones cut in half, and then we will get on to making them look a little bit more like some coconuts. Okay, so that is the last one cut. For any of these that kind of have just misshapen, I'm just going to push back out into the little half circle shape here. And these are looking like they're going to be a much nicer little size of coconut compared to the original ones that I did. I am absolutely loving how this soap dough has come up as well. I decided to have a go at the recipe in the Sorcery Soap Dough book. It's very, very similar to my actual recipe. The main difference is that there is no shea butter in it, and instead that shea butter percentage just gets distributed across the other oils that are in there. So I figured I would give that a go to see if I could get a nice smooth looking soap dough, and I am very, very impressed with it so far. So if you haven't got yourself that book, you can pop on over to the Sorcery Soap webpage, and she actually has an e-copy of that book, and that's what I've actually got on the computer, so I can actually take that book with me anywhere that I go. Alright, I'm really pleased with how they are looking so far, so we're going to move on to the next step. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is do the outsides of these coconuts, and I'm going to use some brown soap dough for this. I'm again going to measure and weigh it out so that I am not making these too big, because the idea is I want to keep them a lot smaller than what I had on my copper coconut soap that I did. So I'm just going to roll that out into a bit of a ball, and I am going to flatten it down. These are between about 2.5 and 3 grams. So I'm going to flatten that out like that. I'm going to grab one of my little halves. I'm going to pop it in, but first of all what I'm going to do, just to make sure that this really does stick together, just going to brush that with a little bit of water, and that's distilled water that I have put into my little cup there. And then I'm just going to very gently wrap that brown around, making sure we've got no holes or anything like that, smoothing it all over. Now I'm not worried that some of this is actually sticking out over the edges, because we can fix that up a little bit later on. I'm just going to take this little tool here that has got a round ball on the end, get rid of that bit of brown dough off there. I'm going to place it in the middle, and I'm just going to roll it around a little bit just to create the little hole that you would have inside the coconut. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to grab a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to trim that brown off like so, and then just make sure that it's going to stick nicely onto the white. Now, as I said, I'm not bothered if it is sticking over that little bit, because quite often when you crack a coconut open, you get all those sort of jagged edges on there. But I do want the inside of my little coconut to be nice and smooth, and I do want them to be this really cute little tiny size here. So that's one of them done. Whoops. What I'm going to do first of all, because these scales do time out quite quickly, I am going to measure myself a few of these little pieces of brown out, and then I will start wrapping up the white pieces. Alright, so now that I've got these ones measured out, I'm going to start again by rolling it up into a little bit of a ball, giving it a bit of a squish out. I don't want to make it too thin because I don't want to have any holes, but I need it big enough to put that white coconut half into it. I think I'm going to have to go and shut the front door to my workshop because the wind has picked up a little bit, and it is making my little wind charm out the front jingle away. It's a little amethyst wind charm that I was given as a Christmas present, and I just hang it in the front of my workshop so I can listen to it dingle all day. Very calming and relaxing, but probably a bit annoying on the video. So we'll get this one done and then I'll go and shut my door. I'm going to dip my little ball tool in that water and just push it down into the center of that coconut, wiggle it around just to make that nice one. By adding that water in there, it stops the soap from actually sticking to the tool and gives that really nice smooth finish to the soap. Make sure all of that is nicely stuck. We'll fix the backs of those up in a little bit. Alright, just shut the front door there and let's get on to finishing these little coconuts off. So I am almost to the end here. Just want to share with you just a couple of little things. I gave up using the paintbrush to put the water on in the end. Just found it was quicker, less sort of swapping and changing of tools, just to dip my finger into the water and then use that to pick up and get these two bits of soap to stick. Now when I'm doing the little hole, I'm holding the soap, I'm kind of curling my finger around and then sitting it into that sort of bowl shape that my finger and thumb make, and that's what actually helps to keep my coconut in that round sort of shape as I am doing it. If I don't make that little cup sort of shape between my thumb and my finger, then it kind of pushes the coconut out flat, which is what we don't want to happen. And that one is there, so we've just got two more to do here, and then we will get to adding just a few of the finishing touches. Okay, so as I did on those sort of original coconuts that I did, I'm just going to get myself a little skewer and I am going to just gently go around them, just brushing at the soap to make it look like the coconut husk. Doesn't have to be perfect, and as I'm starting to get this sort of build up of soap, I'm just going to rub it off on the back of my hand here so that it doesn't get all sort of bumpy and glumpy on this coconut. So just going to keep going all the way around, and I know so far this is kind of looking like the original ones I did, but it's what I'm going to do at the end which is really going to make them a little bit different. So I am almost done with this last coconut of texturing it. These are looking really cute as they are. We've got just a little bit of brown on that one, but they are looking really, really cute as they are. But I have one final thing that I want to do to these coconuts just to make them a little bit different to the last ones I did. Oh my goodness, guys, I really am not doing very well at pushing the record on this camera. I think the button is actually a little bit sticky. What I have done with these is I've put a little bit of biodegradable glitter into the bottom of each of them, and into each of these now I am putting in a little bit of clear melt and pour, which has just a tiny amount of blizzard mica in it, just to give it a little bit of extra shine. And the idea behind this is that they are going to look like coconut and lime, and I am really excited about this next soap. It's one of those where I was told that it was not a fragrance that you could possibly even think about making into a soap unless you made it brown. I've been doing a little bit of testing, and I am pretty sure I'm going to be able to make coconut lime, and it won't be a brown soap. So I'm really excited about this next one. I have just filled up the cavity of all of these with that melt and pour, just to kind of make it look like the coconut water is in them, and those little flecks, as I said, of the biodegradable glitter is meant to look like lime. So that is all of my little coconuts now done. They are ready to go onto the weekend soap. So I am going to go and get the oils together, and then we will make that one on the weekend. So if you haven't already done so, why not subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell sign? It will let you know when that weekend's video becomes available. I hope you have enjoyed watching how I have made these coconuts with a slight little twist to them. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. If you've got any questions, I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And until the weekend's video, I hope you have a great one, and I will see you then. Bye.